Welcome to Comics Bazaar, the channel of comics commentary and arcana. This video features The Amazing Spider-Man number 230, cover dated July 1982. And this is part 2 of a two-part Spider-Man vs. Juggernaut for the first time storyline by Roger Stern and John Romita Jr. And just an unbelievable cover here by John Romita Jr., inked by Milgrom. Just look at the technique on this for rendering the Juggernaut in ink. Definitely some art tool used here, probably a rapidograph, and just such a great amount of work by Milgrom on this, and an excellent design by John Romita Jr. Stunning work. And then we have the cover caption, "To fight the unbeatable foe." So open this one up to the splash page, and we get, because this is a Jim Shooter era comic, we get a recap of what happened in the previous issue, because every issue could be a new reader's first one. And so this is the events of the previous issue. Madame Web, with her psychic premonition that she was going to be attacked by a monster that turned out to be the Juggernaut, Black Tom Cassidy, sent him into Manhattan to take and kidnap Madame Web. Cassidy wanted to use her for his criminal schemes, and removing Madame Web from her life support system basically left her in a unconscious state, hovering near death. And that's where we pick up, and Spider-Man is determined to track down Juggernaut and make him pay for killing perhaps Madame Web. So he's bouncing around the city rooftops in pursuit of Juggernaut. And I love this panel here where we see this guy. He's just sitting on the back of his wrecked car, and Spider-Man, thinking as he's swinging from the rooftops, he leaves a pretty clear trail. That's the Juggernaut. So nice work on these pages by our creative team, which I will go back to the splash page for. It's Roger Stern, John Romita Jr., Jim Mooney doing ink finishes on Romita Jr.'s breakdowns, Glynis Wine colors, and Joe Rosen letters. So here's the Juggernaut. He's in a bit of a mood, because he thinks to himself he was sent on a wild goose chase after Madame Web, since she couldn't be removed from her life support system. He didn't go there deliberately to kill her or anything like that. Spider-Man seeing him from on high. I love this establishing shot of this hotel, the Hotel Schlitz, that is being ripped down to make space for the new Metro Bank building. A lot of work on this page by Romita Jr., showing off his skills with perspective here, drawing all that scaffolding. That would be difficult. Does it very well. Here's the Juggernaut turning down the street. So Spider-Man is setting up a trap for him. This is another great panel where Romita Jr. and Mooney have decided to leave the cityscape behind Spider-Man, open, and it's just colored in by Glynis Wine. And then we've got the shadow on the inside of the brickwork of the building and on Spider-Man as well. Looks really good. So he sets up this trap. He is going to slingshot an iron beam at Juggernaut below on the street, and Juggernaut becomes aware of it just as it's about to hit him, catches it. Tuck. I love that little sound effect there from Joe Rosen. Just casually catches the iron beam. So Spider-Man's going to have to come up with a much better plan to stop the Juggernaut. So he scrunches up the iron beam and makes his way into a demolition site beside the hotel. And he starts ripping down the whole corner of the building. This is a great sequence of vertical panels on the bottom of the page. So he literally rips off the corner of the whole building. Spider-Man clinging on there, bounces off as the building tumbles to the ground, and thinks out a different strategy to take down the Juggernaut. Takes off this 3-ton steel ball that was being used to batter down the building, swings it around here, and sends it flying at Juggernaut, who says nonchalantly, "You think that little thing's going to stop me?" Let's see how it does. No. He backhands it away into the wall, and Spider-Man thinks, oh no, the building is going to crash down, and it does, right on top of him. Also, on Juggernaut 2, Spider-Man here. This is interesting, well thought out stuff from Roger Stern, and also a nice little bit of technique here by Jim Mooney on the inks, rendering the brick dust, which despite his costume still manages to penetrate the fabric and go up his nose. Having a full face mask helps some, but not enough, says Spider-Man. So he digs himself out of the rubble 20 minutes later, and the construction men say both of them survived. So that shocks Spider-Man. Did you say both of them? Yeah, that big fella walked out of the wreckage, and we can see his trail here walking out the wreckage and over the fence. So Spider-Man thinks to himself, where's my mind? I forgot all about that personal force field Juggy has. The bricks probably never even touched him. Now I have to find him all over again. So off he goes. And then we have a little interlude set at the Daily Bugle at the city offices. We have information coming in about the action in the warehouse district. This is a police scanner. So Robbie Robertson here says, right, Charlie, you and Gus get over to the Hudson. Bill stand by for rewrite. So he's thinking about the upcoming edition of the paper. Then we've got some business here with Betty Brandt, but now Leeds, and Glory Grant here. And then this guy, Lance Bannon, who's a photographer as well. And Jonah Jameson comes out of his office and he tells Bannon to get over to the Hudson to take any pictures he might have of what's going on over there. So just some of the soap opera stuff that's going on in the background of the ongoing continuity of the Spider-Man title. And then we switch to a yacht anchored on the Hudson River just off Pier 23, and that's Black Tom Cassidy's yacht. And he's peering out his binoculars there to see if he can catch sight of Juggernaut coming back with Madame Web. But where is Madame Web? And also, what the devil is that following him? And who could it be except for Spider-Man, of course. But he runs out just at that moment of web fluid. And that's, again, I like and I appreciate that, the way that this has been written. You know, everything isn't just coming easy for Spider-Man. It's not just that he has to take down the unstoppable, invulnerable Juggernaut. He also has to factor in his own limitations, like he might run out of web fluid. And it turns out that he's got no spare cartridges. They're all used up. So he's going to have to handle Juggernaut with a handicap, so to speak, in the sense that he won't be able to use his web fluid and webbing. So we have this bigoted Mack truck driver who comes out with a tire iron. He's going to attack Spider-Man, pretty foolish, but he's been indoctrinated by J. Jonah Jameson's prejudice against Spider-Man, thinks he's a menace. Spidey grabs the tire iron, wraps it into a bow, and the guy runs off, aghast. And then Spider-Man gets an idea, a gasoline truck. Okay, so he's got a plan. And then we have a few hundred yards away, Juggernaut thinking about how if they're not tearing buildings down, they're slapping them up. Why can't they just make up their minds? But this new construction site is going to prove pivotal in the denouement to this story. So here we go, Spider-Man driving the Mack truck with the gasoline in the back, and alerting Juggernaut to his arrival by blowing the horn there. He's wedged the accelerator to the floor. It's time to go for broke. So he launches the truck at Juggernaut and bounces out of the way. And this is a great page here. So the truck is flying at Juggernaut. He says, "This won't hurt me, nothing can." And just a huge explosion. So obviously the truck's own fuel tank reacts with the gasoline on the back. Massive explosion. Great colours here by Glynis Wine as well. Love the use of the orange and red and yellow. It's fantastic work. So, will Juggernaut survive that? Black Tom is watching from the yacht. He's seen the explosion. He thinks, "Come on, Bucko, where are you? You can survive this. You have to." Spidey's watching from behind some iron girders himself. He says it's like staring, he thinks to himself, it's like staring into a blast furnace. Juggernaut must have been incinerated instantly. But oh no, look at this silhouette emerging from the fire. And Spidey's aghast. How could he possibly, not even his force field, could possibly have withstood that blast? But he did. And here he is. It's almost like the Terminator in this. A mighty lumbering figure steps out of the awful inferno, his body awash with flame, which he barely feels. He's the Juggernaut. Whatever stands in his path either falls away or is crushed. He cannot be stopped. And so now he's gunning for Spider-Man. You're dead, he says to him. But what's this in the background? Nicely established here by Romita Jr. We've got the concrete mixer there as well. And what's been laid on the floor here. A lot of research done by John Romita Jr. to realise these backgrounds and settings in the script. The letters page here dealing with issue 225 from a few months earlier. So, Spider-Man says to Juggernaut, "You don't waste words, do you?" Juggernaut responds, "No, I don't kid around either. So laugh while you can. It's the last chance you'll ever have." So he launches at Spider-Man. Spider-Man, of course, bounces away, gets the idea of ripping off Juggernaut's helmet. But Juggernaut says, "I know what you're trying and it won't work. Too many people have yanked my helmet off before. So a few days ago, I welded it on with a laser torch. That helmet's never coming off again. But you are," he says. "I'll scrape you off against the wall just like I did this morning in the previous issue." So Spidey's not happy with that. Not again. And then he gets the idea of covering the eye holes. So Juggernaut can't see where he's going. Juggernaut, look at this. This is a great panel here. He's ripping off the back of Spider-Man's costume. And he says, if I can't scrape you off, I'll rip you off. Great sequence of panels here where Spider-Man's taking a tremendous beating from Juggernaut. And he thinks to himself, I have to do it. I owe it to Madame Web, to all the people who depend on guys like me. That's my responsibility. Gotta hold on, but it hurts. Oh man, it hurts. So Spider-Man got absolute resolve here to hang on despite the pounding he's taking from Juggernaut. And then Juggernaut, blinded, wades into the liquid concrete that's been poured into the foundation of this new building. So Spider-Man here says, "Congratulations, Stumblefoot. You slogged right into a recently poured foundation of wet cement. And looks like I finally found a way to hold you." So Juggernaut here surprised. "What do you mean, come back here?" So he says, "You think this will hold me? I'm the Juggernaut. I smash cement." "Wet cement," says Spider-Man. "You're like a man in quicksand. Bottom is 40 feet down. They pour pretty deep foundations when they build this close to the river." I love that detail from Roger Stern. Like, it's really well thought out. So the same situation couldn't have happened in another part of Manhattan, but because they're close to the river, you've got these 40-foot foundations. So Juggernaut is drowning in 40 foot of wet cement and he can't get out. He says here as he sinks into the cement, "It still doesn't matter. I'm the Juggernaut, you hear. I can't be stopped. I don't need air. But he's covered by the cement. And Spidey concludes, "That may be, Juggy. That just may be, but I'm betting that by the time you bust out of there, if you can, the authorities will have come up with a way to hold you. In the meantime, I hope you have a nice long career as part of that foundation." So there you go. That is how he stopped the Juggernaut. It's a bit of luck and using the Juggernaut's vulnerability to be manipulated when he was blind, using his own fortitude to hang on and take that beating while he maneuvered Juggernaut into the wet cement. And then that material itself as something that Juggernaut can't simply walk out of. And then we go back to, again, the kind of ongoing continuity of, well, how does Peter Parker earn a living? Well, he does it by taking pictures while he's Spider-Man in all these heroic type battles and situations. So his camera was going off automatically and he thinks he might be able to sell the pictures. We also get to see how the camera under his costume can take pictures. So Robbie Robertson here says, looks like they were shot through gauze or something. No, actually that's your man Bannon saying that. And Robertson says, true, they are fuzzy, but they're clear enough to print. And they're a Bugle exclusive. So that's interesting. So the costume doesn't entirely black out the camera from taking those pictures on his belt buckle. That's interesting. And again, you know, you're getting that information via Roger Stern's writing of the comics. So, you know, it's well thought out, all the different angles. You can tell by these panels here that John Romita Jr. isn't terribly interested in drawing this. Like, the action sequences are over. This isn't the most dynamic of his panels or storytelling. And Peter races off to Columbia Presbyterian Hospital to visit Madame Webb, despite the doctor's protests about her she's not to receive any visitors. But he relents and says, okay, just for a moment. So it turns out that Madame Webb doesn't recognize Peter. And so Peter realizes that she might have suffered some brain damage. The memory loss will be permanent. The doctor says it's too soon to tell. So Peter walks off thinking she's been paralyzed for years. Her mind, her psychic powers were all she had. What if they're gone too? She always made me uneasy, and I didn't like the fact that she knew I was Spider-Man, but I never wanted it to end like this. And then the yacht, Black Tom Cassidy still looking out from the pier for Juggernaut to emerge from the wet concrete. Several hours pass, and Black Tom thinks to himself, I don't understand, what's it keeping the boy? After all, nothing can hurt him, as far as I know. Surely he can dig his way out from under a few thousand tons of cement. Surely he can any second now. I know he can. Can't he? Can't he? And Romita Jr. pulls the camera back. So the question goes unanswered for now. There you go. I do hope that you enjoyed this review and commentary on Amazing Spider-Man number 230. Look at that amazing cover again. Just a stunning cover. Excellent work. If you did enjoy the video, please like it on YouTube. And if you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more content like this.